The package arrived on a rainy afternoon, the kind where the sky wept gray tears and the wind howled through the trees. Inside the water-stained cardboard box, nestled in yellowed newspaper, was an antique music box, a final gift from Clara's late grandmother. It was beautiful in a haunting way. Delicate roses carved into aged oak, a tarnished silver latch, and a small, rusted key tucked beneath its base. Clara wound it carefully. A fragile lullaby tinkled out, asterisk twinkle, twinkle, little star asterisk, but the melody was slow, distorted, as if played through a veil of time. That night, she heard it again. Clara jolted awake, heart hammering. The music box sat on her dresser, lid shut. Yet the lullaby played, sluggish and warped, seeping into the darkness of her bedroom. She told herself it was a trick of the wind, a loose spring, until she saw the small, pale hand resting on the edge of her bed. A child stood there, translucent in the moonlight. Its hollow eyes locked onto hers. "Wind me up," it whispered, voice like rusted gears. Clara screamed, but when she flicked on the light, the room was empty. Only the music box remained, its lid now slightly ajar. The next morning, she found the key turned in its lock. And the music box was playing all on its own. Horror Elements asterisk. The distorted lullaby asterisk. The familiar tune twists into something unnatural, signaling the curse's presence. The ghostly child asterisk. A lingering spirit tied to the box, growing stronger each night. The self-winding mechanism asterisk. The box's eerie autonomy, no matter how many times Clara locks it, it always opens again. The countdown asterisk. Faint etchings inside the lid reveal a grim truth, a list of names, each dated exactly 1 month apart. The last entry is her grandmother's. The next name? Clara. The flea market smelled of dust and forgotten things when Ethan first saw the necklace. Tarnished silver with a blood-red pendant, it pulsed with a strange energy under the flickering stall lights. The vendor, an old woman with milky eyes, smiled as she took his money. "It suits you," she croaked, her grin revealing too many teeth. That night, Ethan clasped the necklace around his neck. The metal burned cold against his skin, but the discomfort faded quickly. Then, the whispers started. At first, they were just shadows, dark shapes flickering at the edges of his vision, vanishing when he turned. But soon, they grew bolder. A gaunt figure stood at the end of his hallway, its hollow eyes fixed on him. Another lurked behind his shower curtain, its breath fogging the glass. Then came the mirror. Ethan froze mid-shave, razor trembling in his hand. His reflection stared back, but it wasn't him. The face in the glass grinned, its lips stretching too wide, its eyes black pits. It mouthed words Ethan couldn't hear, its fingers pressing against the glass like a prisoner begging to be freed. He tore the necklace off, heart pounding. The reflection snapped back to normal. But when he woke the next morning, the necklace was around his neck again. And this time, the figures didn't just watch. They reached for him. Horror Elements asterisk. The living shadows asterisk. Silent figures that grow more solid each night, their hollow eyes tracking Ethan's every move. The wrong reflection asterisk. The mirror shows not just a twisted version of Ethan, but something else wearing his face. The necklace's hunger asterisk. It always returns, its chain slithering back around his throat like a serpent. The truth in the pendant asterisk. When Ethan finally smashes it open, he finds strands of hair and tiny bones inside, each a trapped soul. The auction catalog described Lot 42 as a 19th-century tribal ritual mask, but when antiquities collector Daniel Price held the grotesque artifact, he felt its true nature immediately. Carved from blackened wood with hollow eye sockets and a leering mouth frozen in a silent scream, the mask seemed to breathe against his palms. The auctioneer's warning, it said to be temperamental, only made him want it more. That night, in the privacy of his study, Daniel lifted the mask to his face. The moment it touched his skin, the wooden tendrils along its edges twitched. A searing pain shot through his cheeks as the mask fused to his flesh. He clawed at it, nails drawing blood, but it wouldn't budge. Then the whispers began. "They called me a god once," the voice slithered through his mind as Daniel stared at his reflection. The mask's expression had changed, its carved lips now curved in a cruel smile. His real mouth moved beneath it, forming words he didn't choose, "Let me show you what we can do." Over the next days, Daniel's skin grew pallid, veined with dark cracks that spread like roots from the mask's edges. His hands developed tremors unless they held sharp objects. The voice grew louder, more insistent, until he found himself standing over his sleeping wife with a kitchen knife, the mask's laughter vibrating through his skull. The final transformation came on the 7th night. When the last patch of Daniel's face disappeared beneath the creeping wood, the mask's eyes glowed crimson in the mirror. And the voice wasn't in his head anymore. It was his own. Horror elements *. Living artifact *. The mask physically grafts itself to the wearer, transforming them from the outside in. Forbidden knowledge *. Brief flashes reveal the mask's history in Daniel's dreams, human sacrifices, blood rituals. Identity theft *. The reflection shows the mask's true face while Daniel's features fade. Point of no return *. The moment Daniel's vocal cords are no longer his own. Visual storytelling cues *. Opening scene *. Close-up of the mask in the auction room, dust motes swirling around its screaming mouth. Transformation sequence * time-lapse effect of the wooden veins spreading across Daniel's face. Climax shot *. The mask's eyes lighting up as Daniel's human ones disappear beneath the wood. The mirror called to Sarah the moment she entered the antique shop. Its ornate silver frame, tarnished with age, seemed to hum as she ran her fingers along the intricate carvings of screaming faces. 18th century, the shopkeeper lied, avoiding her eyes as he took her money. They say it shows possibilities. At first, the visions were glorious. Sarah saw herself accepting a promotion, her boss shaking her hand with admiration. She saw a diamond ring glittering on her finger as her boyfriend proposed in candlelight. Each reflection filled her with dizzying anticipation, until the day the mirror showed her bleeding. It happened at midnight. Sarah, wrapped in her robe, watched her reflection raise a trembling hand to touch its own neck. Where Sarah's skin was smooth, the reflection's fingers came away wet and glistening. The bathroom lights flickered as her mirror self mouthed words Sarah felt in her bones, * 3 days. *. Panic set in when the visions grew worse. Her reflection drowned in a bathtub full of black water. It lay broken at the bottom of her apartment stairwell. Each morning, a new gruesome death played out in the glass, always counting down, * 2 days * tomorrow * until the final night, when Sarah's reflection simply stopped moving. Cold fingers pressed against the inside of the glass. Her corpse opened its eyes. Horror elements asterisk. Deceptive gift asterisk. The mirror's initial glimpses of the future are just bait to keep victims watching. Countdown terror asterisk. Each reflection shows a different possible death, the timeframe shrinking relentlessly. Physical breach asterisk. The moment dead Sarah's hands push against the mirror's surface from inside. Twist asterisk. The visions weren't warnings, they were the mirror deciding her fate. Visual storytelling cues asterisk. Opening shot asterisk. The mirror's frame glowing faintly in the dark shop, screaming faces seeming to move. First omen asterisk. Reflections. Bloody fingers contrasting with Sarah's clean hands in same position. Climax scene asterisk. The corpse's hands leaving fogged prints on her side of the glass. The doll sat propped against an old trunk in the attic, its cracked porcelain face grinning through decades of dust. When Ryan pulled it free, cobwebs clung to its yarn hair like a funeral veil. Something about those glass eyes, too knowing, too alive, made his skin crawl. That night, the furnace roared as Ryan tossed the doll into the flames. The porcelain screamed. A child's wail echoed up the vents as the fire died abruptly, leaving the doll untouched amid the ashes, its smile wider, its cheeks flushed pink. Ryan tried everything. A sledgehammer left it unscratched. Drowning only made its antique dress drip with algae-filled water. Each time he locked it away, he'd find it waiting on his bed, its position slightly changed, first sitting upright, then lying as if sleeping, until the night it appeared on his chest, its tiny fingers digging into his pajamas. "You shouldn't have thrown me away," it whispered in a voice like rusted music box gears. Ryan's blood turned to ice. He remembered that voice. 40 years ago, his childhood friend Emily had vanished during a game of hide-and-seek, right after he'd locked her in this very attic. The police never found her. But now, as the doll's cold hands tightened around his throat, Ryan realized two terrible truths. Emily had never left the attic. And she'd finally been found. Horror elements asterisk. Unkillable object asterisk. Fire/water/blunt force all fail, each attempt making the doll more alive. Child's vengeance asterisk. The spirit grows stronger each night, replaying its own abandonment. Guilty reveal asterisk. The protagonist's buried crime resurfaces through the doll's accusations. Twist asterisk. The attic's rotting walls hide a much older horror, a small skeleton in tattered clothes. Visual storytelling cues asterisk. Opening shot asterisk. Dust motes swirling around the doll's suddenly focusing eyes as Ryan touches it. Fire scene asterisk. Porcelain face warping in the flames, mouth opening to scream without sound. Final moment asterisk. Wide shot of the attic at dawn, doll cradled in skeletal arms in the shadows.